Hi, I'm Mark Fish, and yes, I am very fortunate to be on the Legends couch. And I was very fortunate to be able to. I grew up in Sunnyside, Pretoria, playing football for Arcadia Shepherds, which was then a very big club. I had a professional team. I grew up from the ranks, being at the age of 6, 7, 8. I was playing for Arcadia Shepherds already. Played under 10, 12, 14. And then under 16, I was very fortunate to make SA schools. And a good story about that is that I grew up as a striker. Scored many goals. And I played for then, which was Northern Transvaal. And then for Southern Transvaal, which was more the Joburg area. We had the infamous Spider-Man Brian Beloy, who was a central defender for Southern Transvaal. And I was playing a striker at Northern Transvaal. Needless to say, I beat him as a defender and I scored. And I think that's why he decided to become a goalkeeper eventually. But that's a true story. He played as a defender and became a goalkeeper. But and then I was very fortunate to be playing with some fantastic players, and one of the senior players in the amateur team. So I was at 16, I was playing for the senior grown men team already. And one of the players was Paul Matthews, who is now one of the chief scouts at Supersport United. He was the son of Roy Matthews. Roy Matthews was assistant coach with Joe Masono at Jomo Cosmos. He told Roy to come out and look at me. Roy looked at me and then also told Jomo to come and look at me. And then, needless to say, when I matriculated that year, I matriculated in December. The following year, August, I signed for Jomo Cosmos and joined many fantastic players from Arcadia to go on, and obviously joined who is now the late Thomas Madagagi, who was a key player not only for Cosmos and for South Africa, but instrumental in traveling with me from Pretoria to Cosmos and telling me and teaching me about football in what is now we call the PSL League. Well, obviously, when I joined Cosmos, I've got to know a little about Joe Masono. I didn't follow South African football as a kid, and I didn't really follow. I think once in a while I would watch be able to watch the FA Cup. But going to Cosmos, Paul Matthews and Roy would tell me about Joe Masono and about obviously Jomo Cosmos, and then hearing about him. When I signed for Cosmos, obviously I was very fortunate to have the chance to train and play with Jomo. Jomo had come to the end of his career, but he used to train with us, and I still actually think in that my first year, I think come the end of the game, Jomo used to bring himself on because he would entertain the fans and also keep the ball if you were leading. So it was a phenomenal experience to not only sign for Jomo Cosmos and to meet Jomo Sono and to play with Jomo Sono, but from there, the players that I met at Jomo Cosmos would be players that would have played an integral part in my career as a footballer in South Africa, and also obviously going overseas and for Bafana Bafana. When I signed for Cosmos in 92, we got to the Bobsleigh final. We lost to Kaizer Chiefs as Cosmos. So the following year we were new, obviously we only got readmitted into world football in 92 as a country. And then we played in Africa in 93 that year for Cosmos. We played in what was then the Cup Winners' Cup, which is now the Confederations Cup. We got to the semi-final, but unfortunately with both Roy being a little bit physically ill and Jomo not always wanting to travel with us, a lot of times we traveled into Africa with Freddie Banda would be a player coach. And we did very well in Africa, but when we came back to play what was then I think the National Soccer League, the NSL, they used to change the team a lot. So that season, although we got to the semi-final of the Cup Winners' Cup in Africa, we got relegated as Cosmos. And obviously not sure where I'm going to go, what to do now. I had the chance to go to Mamelodi Sundowns. They were interested because I lived in Pretoria. Also had the chance to maybe go to Kaizer Chiefs, but I ended up going to Orlando Pirates. Orlando Pirates, which obviously I knew as a team, having played against them for Cosmos, and also realizing they are one of the biggest teams in South Africa. So it was a fantastic opportunity. But not only that, it made it a lot easier for me when 6 of my teammates that had been relegated with Cosmos, we went together to Pirates. So settling down at Pirates and settling down in an environment of the passion, the anticipation of the fans, the expectations of obviously Dr. Ivan Khoza taking over the club and wanting to bring new things and obviously wanting to put Pirates where it is today. It made life a lot easier that, as I said, 6 of my teammates left with me from Cosmos to Orlando Pirates. So I actually caught the eye of the national team in '93. I made my debut at the age of 19 for Bafana Bafana when Augusto Palacios was the coach. Went to the national team we played Mexico in Los Angeles. I came on as a substitute, and I think I played about 6 different positions because I don't think Augusto Palacios knew then what he was doing, and whether he knows now is another story. But and Jomo even called me to the hotel room and he said to me, what position, he asked me what position I played. I said, well, I went on as right back, then midfield. So he was a little bit upset that I was used like that. But obviously then having going to then to Pirates, that year we obviously got the call up because Pirates we were doing so well. We went on to win the league that year, but also it was the inauguration of the new president, Nelson Mandela, the late Madiba. So when I got the call up for the national team, then Neil Tovey, Steve Kompella and Lucas Radebe were still the central defenders. And Clive Barker, because I had been playing so well for Pirates, needed to find a position for me. So actually, which I still think to this day maybe is my favorite position, but I played in the middle of midfield with Neil Tovey at the Ellis Park Stadium on the inauguration day in 1994. So that's when I obviously joined the national team properly, with Clive Barker becoming the coach, and the success of Orlando Pirates, the players around me. It's very important to not enough emphasis is given to Jomo Sono or Jomo Cosmos 93 team that traveled Africa. And as I said, 6 of us, it was myself, Tony Catano, Chris Mawakapuki, Innocent Ngongo, I might be obviously Halman Makelele. There's 5, and there's another one I'm thinking, and myself. We went from there to win the league in '94, with obviously the likes of Eddie Mutale and players coming from other clubs joining, and obviously the players that we found at Orlando Pirates went on to win the league there. And then obviously the big success in '95, winning the African Champions League with Orlando Pirates. So what I'm trying to say, we've never put enough emphasis or given enough credit to what we had experienced as players in '93. Like I said, traveling Africa without a coach, having to understand, and if you travel Africa, people don't always understand. People think South Africa is Africa. It's not. You travel Africa, you get to see poverty, you get to see all the things that you don't necessarily want to see in South Africa, but you experience it. And on the field, and off the field, they treat you, and I think it still happens to a degree today, but not as bad. So what we had gained on the field as Cosmos led to our success '94 and '95. I was very fortunate to be approached by 2 agents that wanted me to go to Europe, and we were under obligation. The people representing me at the time, we were under obligation to go to Man United and to Lazio. So I went to Man United. I sat with Alex Ferguson after having watched Man United play Everton on a Monday night, and then we said and then he just said he wants me to stay to train with the team to see if I can adapt to the way of style of football that they play. Meaning United, we were playing 4-4-2. As Bafana, we were playing more a 3-5-2 formation, a little bit different, which is a lot harder than 4-4-2. 4-4-2 is easier. And we just said we had an obligation to go to Lazio in Italy. And we went there, and they wanted to sign me straight away. So don't always want to admit it, but growing up I was probably a Man United fan. Don't show this to anyone. But so a lot of my friends that knew that would have said, why didn't I go to Man United? People always ask me, did I regret it? No, I don't regret anything, because even when I went to the Italian league, when I went to Lazio, it was still one of the strongest, if not the strongest league in the world at the time. Very competitive, and as a defender, would have been the best league to go to, because Italians are the best defenders. They always have been up until obviously recent years. But I went there and went and joined Lazio. Probably didn't play as much football as I would have liked to. Unfortunately, we played in I was signed by Zednik Zeman, who was the coach. I started playing with him, and the central partner was Alessandro Nesta, who went on to play for Italy and win the World Cup. And I played there, and unfortunately, there was a European against African 11 game in Portugal. I went to that, and when I had left to that, they had fired Zednik Zeman. So Dino Zoff took over, and he wanted. I got back too late from that game, and he had made plans for a new team. And fortunately, that team started off well. They won, and so it got hard for me to get back into the team. But it was the best experience I had as a defender. I learned a lot as a player, but obviously off the field as well, because now that I wasn't playing where everything was at a high of my career. Now suddenly I wasn't playing. I was still in a foreign country, learning a foreign language. You learn a lot about yourself, and then opportunity came for me to go to Bolton Wanderers. Only reason being because we as South Africa had played against England at Old Trafford that year, and we had lost 2-1 by an Ian Wright dodgy handball goal. But Colin Todd was the coach of Bolton Wanderers. He had seen me play, and him being the type of football that he wanted to play was expansive football, passing football. He had seen me play, and so he wanted me to come to Bolton, and the opportunity of going to the English Premier League, obviously no one would ever say no to that, and I went straight there to sign for Bolton and ended up spending 4.5 seasons there. There's a lot of players that have gone and played, and players over the last, just a name came now, Sibusiso Zuma. He was in Copenhagen for, Denmark for many years. You got Bradley Cornell. It was in Germany for many years, and Dalron Buckley. And they went over young. So again, it probably resorts to character again. When you say obviously your ability is why you go, because clubs want you and that's why you go. But your character as an individual, maybe you get injured, or maybe you're not in the starting level. Are you willing to work that a little bit harder? Then it's cold. Then maybe the fans aren't on you. The fans don't like you. So it's the way you approach the game as an individual is the key. So talent alone gets you nowhere, but talent and hard work will get you anywhere. And I think if you look at the players that have achieved it or have stayed long, and I'll use Lucas Radebe as the prime example. He got injured within the first 4 months that he was at Leeds. Now, Leeds is not a nice place. You can ask them that. They eat Yorkshire pudding. Now, you want to know that's black and that's something in it. You don't even eat it. I've never even tried it. But you get injured. You do your ACL, your main ligament. And obviously, he could have been lonely. Yes, he had Phil Masinga there as a roommate or teammate. He could have easily come back, but he stuck it out, and look what he achieved 10 years later, playing at the same club. So the character of knowing, yes, you can play in South Africa and it's nice here, and the weather's nice, and the girls and the women will support you, the fans will love you. Yes, they might get on your back, but tomorrow you go to training and you go again. But if you're in a foreign country, in a different language, and a little bit, you need to know where you want to go in life. And I think that's the most important with the youngsters that all they aspire. Everyone wants to aspire to play for Pirates, Chiefs, Sundown. Aspire bigger. If you are good enough, go overseas and have a go at it. And know that it's not an easy ride, but you take that ride. And once again, the players that have achieved it are the ones, you ask them the question, they'll tell you about hard work and commitment and knowing where you want to see yourself in 5-6 years' time. And whatever work you will do to get there, you will do it. We talk about it at the time with the Dr. Kamalas and the John. Do you remember Shoes when he was at Blackpool? Pirates, I think Ivan calls at the time. Pirates, he asked all the Pirates fans to give R1 each so they can buy him. To buy him. So, because I think at the time they wanted 250,000. That was and so in that, when football was played with passion and desire, and maybe not for the sake of money or for whatever you achieve, people went to the stadium to watch individuals play. Yes, they played for a team. They supported Chiefs or Pirates or Sundowns, no matter who, but they went to see individuals play. Now you go and watch your team, you support a team, and then your team wins or loses. You'll be upset, whatever. but there's no real characters. There's no one that stands up and says, okay, today I want to take it. And that's the same. You're going to ask me about the derby. The derby's the same. Do you have someone that will say, okay, today I want to go watch so and so today? Maybe Chiefs will say, maybe they can say maybe they want to watch Comma Billiard. Maybe, do you know? I'm saying to a degree, Pirates, who they want to watch that they can, so we need those individuals to stand. We need character. The individuals stand up and say, I might make a mistake, one or two on the field, but if I know it's my team behind me, I will take that chance. And we need that. We need players taking chances more and more on the field.